Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another sort of knife review for you. Today we have the Chris Reeve Umnumzaan. This is a moderately well-used example, but it's going to be mine now, and that is because of you guys. I'm kind of a Chris Reeve guy. I'm not the biggest one in the world, but I've had a few and still own a couple. And I've been talking about getting another one sometime, and I was talking about what I wanted, and you guys just kept bringing up the Umnumzaan. A lot of you guys that are big Chris Reeve people, there's a lot of you here on the channel, just keep bringing up, get an Umnumzaan, get an Umnumzaan, get a Zaan, get a Zaan. We're going to start saying Zaan because Umnumzaan is really hard to say, but that is the name of it, and that is how you pronounce it. You guys kept bringing it up. And eventually somebody did reach out to me. I think they came up on one of the live shows or something. Someone did reach out to me, sent me an email, said, hey, I have a Tanto version if you want to check it out. I'll send it to you. Option to buy it. Found out what the price was before he sent it, and price was completely fair. It's in pretty good shape. I went for it, so yeah, this is going to be mine now. But I am glad that you guys did make me do it. It is a pretty cool knife, and I do really enjoy it. So this is going to be kind of a review, but this is a well-used example, and it does have an aftermarket edge on it, so we're not going to do quite as much stuff as we usually do, but close to it. So the Umnumzaan, this has been around for quite a while with Chris Reeve. It's kind of the biggest knife they make, but not by much. You'll see that here in a moment. It does have a lot of stuff that has been migrated into other more modern Chris Reeve designs, like the Nkosi and the new Sebenza 31. It has the ceramic ball lock bar interface. It's got a lot of stuff that kind of, you saw it come out in later stuff. Unique to it, it does have this really cool over travel stop, which I like a lot. That's pretty neat. But other than that, yeah, a lot of the Chris Reeve stuff that you see, they all have this pattern on them. This one has a very nice, I guess, what do we call it now, patina to it. It's perfectly well scratched up. If you guys have never had a Chris Reeve that doesn't have the inlays on it, they get scuffed up. They get snail trails. They get all that stuff. It gives them part of their charm. And I really like the way, whatever he did to this. I don't know if it was on purpose, but it looks fantastic. And yeah, this is the Tanto. Now, I kind of wanted the other blade shape than a more normal kind of drop pointy, clip pointy sort of looking blade shape, because my Nkosi that you'll see shortly is a Tanto. But I do really like their Tantos, and that's what this one was. So that's what I do love the way it looks, I do have to say. But now I have two Tantos. I only wanted the other one to be different. I do like the Tanto better, so it honestly works out just fine. Yeah, he did sharpen it, but he did a really good job. Didn't screw up the tip or anything on the Tanto. The secondary tip, that often is a hard thing to do. Got the sort of zero grindy thing on that they have in the front of the Tanto pretty well. It's got a little bit of bevel to it now, but it's not too bad. Very nice shiny edge. It's sharp as the Dickens, as they say. I will say that. But yeah, just kind of a sort of unique model for Chris Reeve. It doesn't seem like they make as many of these as they do some of the others. So let's do some specs and some size comparisons. We have a blade length of 3.68 inches, we'll call it 3.7 inches, overall length of 8.5 inches, blade thickness of the usual 0.14 inches, and handle thickness of 0.45 inches, and a weight of right dead on about 5 ounces. So depending on which blade shape you get, this one's like 5.04 or something like that. So right on about 5 ounces. Size comparisons, we'll start with our usuals. We have your Spyderco Manix 2. And we're gonna have to scooch these up a little bit. And the Spyderco Para 3. So you can see right off the bat, it's a long knife for sure. It's not particularly tall, but it is pretty long. And then we will grab the usual Benchmades. We have your full-size Griptilian. A lot of gray going on here right now, and it's going to get grayer. And the full-size Bug Out. So again, you can see fairly long knife, but not too tall. Now we're going to start bringing out stuff that's a bit more applicable in this kind of price range, and another Chris Reeve. By the way, these go for about $450 on the usual Chris Reeve price for one that doesn't have carbon inlays and all that. So they don't upcharge a lot for, or any at all, honestly, for all this patterning and stuff like that. So first comparison obviously would be, I don't have a full-size Sebenza. So this is the full-size Incosi. So you can see it's a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, but it's not a dramatic thing. Let me match up those pivots really well. Yes, fractionally larger than that. Other ones we might want to grab, we'll go for a Sebenza 20, or Sebenza, yep. And Hinder, I keep saying Sebenza. Why did I say Sebenza 21? I don't even own one of those. I haven't had one of those for years. Hinder XM18. Happens to be the Warncliffe one. And then we'll pull those away, and I got two more for you. We have the Spartan Harsey folder. This is the full-size 4-inch one, not the 3.25. A little bit smaller than that. And the Demco 8020. So a little bit smaller than both of those. So it's a large, I would classify it as largish, is what I would say. On the blade on this, again, this is an aftermarket edge, so we're not going to go with all the thickness behind the edge and all that, but it's the same as any other Chris Reeve Tanto, really. It's got a bit more of a, the spine's a bit of a different shape, but other than that, it's pretty much the same blade. Nice hollow grind. I do love their Tantos a lot. I find them to be very useful, some of the best ones out there. I like a Tanto, some people don't. I've gone from not liking Tantos to being Tanto indifferent to I'm a big fan now. Usually if I have the option to order that, if you have two blade choices and one's a Tanto, that's what I get. Like I said, the only reason I was going to get something different on an Umnumzaan was because I have another Chris Reeve Tanto. But yeah, it's really nice. S35 VN. Now, they were known famously for running their S35 VN pretty soft. I think they've gotten away from that. And they finally did come out with a new version of the Umnandi that has S45 VN. So I guess their transfer to S45 VN is slowly beginning. So probably the next run of these will be S45. Because currently you can't find them anywhere. So I'm assuming when the next run comes out, it's probably going to be S45. As far as the ergonomics go, pretty good. I wouldn't call it quite as good as my Incosi. My Incosi does have the inlay, so it's a bit of an unfair comparison. But a lot of it is to do just, I can feel the pocket clip just a little bit, not too much. And this does have a pocket clip that rides on the lock bar like the old 21 was, which I'm not in love with that, but it doesn't get in the way too badly. You do have this kind of unique lock bar. I guess we're going to put that in the ergonomics. We'll get to it, but you can see how this pretty unique lock bar that sticks up a little bit so that it really will grab on a glove or something like that. So you wind up with this sort of almost, finger cutout for you to land. And it's pretty, it works pretty well, but if your finger rides back, you can feel that. It's a kind of a thin little piece there. It's when you deploy it, there is kind of a trick to it. I learned quickly. If you go and just do it like normal, it hurts a little bit. It's not very comfortable. When you open an Umnumzaan, the best way to do it is honestly to put your thumb and use like the meat of your thumb and slide it over. And then it works great because this is kind of meant to be used with gloves. So that makes sense. And if you use it that way, it's not horribly uncomfortable and it works just fine. But yeah, use the meat of your thumb. Don't use the tip of your thumb. Well, you're going to get a sore little thumb. Absolutely for sure. I guess we'll skip ahead to the deployment on it since we already started talking about it. It does have different thumb studs than you see on other Chris Reeves, and I never noticed that because the thumb studs do act as a blade stop as well. So it has completely different thumb studs on it, and they're pretty comfortable. They don't get that much grip. I have slipped off from me. You saw me just do it a second ago. But you get underneath there and it flicks out pretty well. It's not drop shutty. Most Chris Reeves aren't. That Chris Reeve smooth they talk about doesn't mean drop shutty. Sebenza smooth, I guess, as most people call it, because it's the most popular selling model, so that's where the term came from. They're mostly not drop shut. They're just smooth, and this feels no different than that. It just has that same, glass on glass, oily sort of feeling. It's very nice, kind of hydraulic feel, but it's not super drop shutty. But it is pretty snappy. You can flick it out super easy. I don't think Chris Reeve even likes you doing that. I think they'd rather you just slow roll it, but it works pretty well. How does it carry? Pretty good. This is one I'm not tempted to change the pocket clip on. I did change it on my full-size Incosi. This is a Casey Lynch milled clip, which they're kind of pricey, to be honest, but I don't think I need it with this one. And yeah, a little bit sticking out. This isn't the kind of knife that you're going to try and hide. It's a pretty big knife, so I don't have no problem with that. No flipper tab, hand slides past it really well. It's quite a nice knife to carry. 5 ounces, completely fine with that weight. It's not over the top. If you're wanting something super light, you're not looking at an over 3.5-inch blade full titanium folder. So, and honestly, in the action too, when I mentioned, I said on the 21, it really annoys me that when this, because this pocket clip landed on the lock bar, and I always found myself pushing on it, you know. I don't on this one. So there's a lot more real estate, and it seems to tolerate it better even if you do. I don't know how to put that, but on the 21, I would always get kind of death lock. I don't get it on this. So overall, yeah, I'm glad you guys taught me into trying one of these out. I'm going to enjoy it for a while. I don't know if it's one I'm going to keep forever, but I do want to experience one for a little while, so I am going to try and hold on to it for a bit. I will say it's been in my pocket a couple of times this week since I got it, so three times actually, so that's not too bad. And yeah, it did come with a lanyard. I removed it. I don't like lanyards. They're for silly heads, so I got rid of it. So, but I did put the tube back in. It did rattle around a little bit, so I did the same thing I had to do on my, what was it, this is a Benza 31. I don't remember if I did it on the Incosi or not, but I put a little bit of Loctite so that it didn't rattle around. But a little bit of blue Loctite, just a smidge, just a little kiss of it so it wouldn't rattle. But really cool knife. I'm glad that I have my hands on one for at least a little while. Maybe it'll be a keeper for a long time. I don't know. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.